talkers. Trash talkers. We're just smack talkers.
One person's perspective, who was actually a main player in this, that they really didn't talk to that much was Toni Kukoc.
Right.
And I wanted to hear more from him and how he felt about the freeze out, or the defense that Pippen and Jordan played on him in the Olympics, and how he felt about Pippen not going back in the game after the play was called for Kukoc. Did he ever really talk? Did they ever really talk to Toni Kukoc about that incident?
He spoke briefly about it. He's just kind of, but he didn't elaborate. I think it was a very quick conversation. Then they moved to the discussion by, the words of Bill Cartwright, what he said in the locker room and everything like that. But they didn't talk about that. And so, okay, so because we go like we go, if you had to call a last second play to get a score, would you go to Kukoc or would you go to Scottie? And before I let you answer, I will answer.
Okay.
I would say with 3 seconds left, Kukoc was more creative than Scottie was with the ball in his hand. Like if he had to score on somebody, Kukoc was that person. And and Phil Jackson, to his credit, he knew it. And I think Scottie was a whole lot of things, but Scottie wasn't like a one-on-one creative type of guy that's going to
absolutely not. And it's so funny because it was pretty much an easy decision by Phil because they actually had data. Because remember, they were saying he had already hit like 5 or 6 end of game or end of quarter shots that year. So, and that's why none of the other players were upset about it or surprised by it.
Right.
So I don't know what Scottie was on.
Well, so Scottie was with the whole thing. I'm the man. I've watched and I've waited, and that it was no question that if it was Jordan, then the ball would go to Jordan. And so Jordan's not here, then the ball should go to me. But it wasn't time. If it were 10 seconds left, I would say, yeah, go to Scottie, let him create and let him, try to do something. And then he'll probably end up passing the ball. But with just enough time to catch, make a move and shoot, Kukoc was better equipped for that. And, so Scottie feels a little salty about it, but that's why a lot of people to this day will have a little angst, that continues with Scottie. And that's a hard pill to swallow. This guy Kukoc, like you said, no one talked about Kukoc. Jordan didn't even talk about him. Here's this guy that they dominated over in the Olympics. And then lo and behold, end of the game, playoff game, Phil's going to go to Kukoc over me. Now, you saw what I did to Kukoc in the Olympics. So what in the world are you thinking about? So that's where Scottie's coming from.
Right. Scottie is, he's a jack of all trades, but he at no point, I think, in his career was able to carry any team. He was the perfect, Robin to Batman. He was the perfect sidekick. He wasn't Kobe to Shaq. Kobe and Shaq were pretty much equal, I thought. Pippen, and this is another question. So if Pippen was drafted on another team, say the Wizards, a team that has, historically not been very good, would he be a Hall of Famer?
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, did Jordan, in his quest to elevate every single player on his roster, did the same to Scottie? Did he motivate Scottie into a Hall of Famer? That's my question. I don't know if I know the answer to that.
Yeah, Scottie was a unique. I mean, he's a one of a kind type of player. So I'm not saying that he couldn't create, because he could. I mean, he
Mm-hmm.
handled the ball well, and basically he and Jordan handled, when Jordan went out of the game, Scottie became like, primary ball handler, because
Right.
the Bulls had small shooting guards, but they didn't have like point guards. They had Jordan
Right.
and Pippen. And so obviously, he's just a hard guy to put in a category, but I still hold to what I said initially, that if I had 2 or 3 seconds left in a game, I have Pippen and Kukoc. I'm going to Kukoc because, one, Kukoc is tall, he has better range on his shot, and he's crafty. He was a
Right.
crafty type of scorer. And whereas Scottie would either, try to get to the hole, I don't remember him with any type of like a fadeaway shot or turnaround shot. It was kind of like,
He was a transition type
it was
of
transition. Yeah. Once he got out of
scorer.
transition, he was,
Mm-hmm.
mad crazy, but he wasn't doing those types of one-on-one things that, that separate the scorers from the just upper echelon scorers. He was, guy who was smart. So, I just, it's hard. It's hard. But I get him though. I mean, I play in ball. If I'm the man on the team, I want the ball at the end of the game. They're going to give me the ball. I don't work. Got you here. You guys didn't pay me. I'm here.
Right.
George's not here. And you're going to get the ball to Kukoc? I mean, that's
Right.
why
And he was having, there was rumblings. He was having an MVP type year.
right. It's just,
He was having his best year.
right.
So, and he was gaining a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
But I think it was the right call. I agree with you. It was definitely the right call to go with Kukoc. Absolutely.
Right.
And it was proven he hit it, right? So
he made the shot. So it was
right.
really nothing he could say.
Right.
And, it's interesting. Your teammates, if Jordan was on the floor and he said, let's go to Steve Kerr with 2 seconds left, with the person inbound, no matter what the coach said, he would look at Kerr and look him off and throw the ball to Jordan. I mean, I want to win. So I'm not doing that.
Right.
But I think a lot of people on that team kind of had they understood where Phil was going with that. So,
right.
So yeah.
And it didn't help.
Be a problem.
It didn't help when they asked him 30 years later if he had it all over to do again, would he not go in the game? And he said he wouldn't change a thing.
I know. That was weird, because he said he felt bad. He apologized. He had this tearful moment in the locker room. And then, which everybody was like, okay, cool. We love Pip and all that. And then you come out and say, but yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would. Like, do it again. I wouldn't change a thing. Well, what day on?
Yeah, So what is it? Or do you feel bad about it, or what?
Yeah, you have weird. He would have to say, look, this is why I felt so bad about it, and yeah, under the circumstances, as a player, I shouldn't have done that, but this is what I was feeling at the time. And if he just told everybody what he was feeling,
right,
and why, then but.
And then you should have said, obviously, with the, Phil made the right decision because Toni hit the shot.
Yeah, Toni hit the shot. We won. That was a great thing. Even despite, my actions, we still won.
Right.
And so he couldn't fix his mouth to say those words. And so now he thinks that somehow, the Last Dance has portrayed him in a negative light. But those were his words. They came out of his mouth. And I love Pip. I love him. I love his game. I love everything about him. And I think he was, the deciding factor. Like Jordan said, he never would have done it without Pippen. He didn't win before Pippen, and he couldn't have won without Pippen. So Jordan acknowledges him, but so
it's like what you were saying in one of our earlier episodes about the Uber athlete. Those guys don't want to concede anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, those guys have such big egos, man. It's crazy.
Trash talkers. Trash talkers. We're just smack talkers. Trash talkers.